great Friday morning presentation for you here at Train and Trade. It's time to get things running. Let me encourage you guys to go to Tom's free Telegram channel if you want to keep up with the day's events, dtitrader.com/Telegram. Also, get a quick look at what Tom is looking at today. And I can tell you that when we look at the early information, kept that pivot at 73.85. That was the same pivot we had used the day before because that's where the market was. And of course, you have your Magic 5 stocks, Qualcomm, SLV, Google/Alphabet, NVIDIA, and QQQ. And looking at what's going on in the market, man, that QQQ is just flying. NASDAQ's having a great day, thanks in large part to Advanced Micro Devices, and Tesla really ramping it up. Intel not doing too shabby either. 117 for Intel. And I want to encourage everybody, when you have the chance, you'll notice we have our YouTube group coming in. We are simulcasting now on YouTube. You can go and visit them, dtitrader.com/YouTube. Click on the live presentation. While you're there, like and subscribe and say good morning in that chat room. Really looking forward to seeing everybody on that front. Now, we are going to be talking about markets. There is a very high degree of risk involved in trading. You and you alone are going to be responsible for your decisions. So make sure you make them responsibly. Also, stay informed as you make them. As I mentioned, keep up with us on that Telegram channel, dtitrader.com/Telegram. And remember that past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Or a couple of big items here. Crude opened at 98.25. They had moved to an overnight low at 93.82. That remains the low of the day. Crude trading at 95.24 right now, so below the overnight open. And the big news this morning was the employment situation report. Non-farm payrolls came in plus 115,000. It was better than expected, not quite as good as the last reading, but given everything that's going on, that's an excellent number, 115,000. The unemployment rate remained unchanged at 4.3%. The participation rate actually dropped a little bit from 61.9 to 61.8%. Key levels, the overnight high was 74.1250, and the current all-time high of the E-mini S&P futures is 74.2275. Got to be careful about saying that, Tom, because I don't know if it's done yet. Now, as we move in, let's get Tom's opinion. Tom, what do you think about this market? Are we done, or is there more to come?
Oh, a lot more to come. We're just getting started. I think that today's lesson will put a lot of money in people's pockets if they listen and understand it. You know, we've been building it all week with what we tried to do with our lessons. And so, you know, I think that a couple things. You'll hear from what he sent me, but it really moved me. Okay. You know, people say, well, why do you want love letters? Folks, I like to get feedback, whether it's good or bad, how I'm doing, because that's what I'm motivated by. And when somebody writes me a letter like the one I'm going to show you today, I come in and I got up early this morning and said, hey, let me share a strategy that typically only maybe my one-on-ones or people coming to Ponte Vedra or Sawgrass, you know, I would share with you because it's a strategy that I called my mutual fund sector strategy. It really derived from the world's greatest stock trader, Richard Smith, that wrote it. And I've done it over the years, and people go, how'd you make 50% on options? You know, it used to be on stock, but on options. I said, well, it's a strategy I got, and I used it at the right time. And so what I'm giving you today, if I'm right, you know, it can always be wrong. One out of five, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, you're going to make 30% on what you put into this thing. But there's a way I put it in there too. I just don't go hog wild. And so what I do is I take an amount of money and divide it up over 5 tickers. That's right, 5 tickers. I was hoping Chuck would highlight my number one horse today, inside the TNT room and didn't even get a mention. And it's the first
Are
time
we
I've
talking about
traded in a long
Intel?
time.
We talking about Intel?
Well, I'm talking about Intel. I'm talking about Qualcomm also.
Yeah, no, we definitely we mentioned the Magic 5, and I also went off and said, and by the way, Intel up to 117. So you got to put those ears on earlier. We do a little pre-gaming here, Tom.
Okay. Did you say Qualcomm though, Chuck? That's the first time I've traded in a while.
Yeah, we did mention Qualcomm. I didn't mention it in detail. I just
Well,
mentioned it
why
as
don't
the
you
Magic
share
5.
with it before I go any further? Because you've hurt my feelings. I mean, I put on Qualcomm this morning. What price did I say to get long?
On Qualcomm, let's go and look at that Magic 5, 210.55.
And it's at 222 right now, $1,200 on 100 shares.
Yeah,
That
not
doesn't get
bad
an
at all.
honorable mention.
And we also talked, Tom, about the QQQ 702.55, and they're up at 706.71
Now, we're
right
already
now.
established when it comes to the QQQ, I'm your guy. Okay. That's my best trading vehicle I have. But I'm really talking about Qualcomm, Chuck. You tried to, steer me off of it, but I'm telling you, that's an exciting opening salvo to go from 210 to 220. In what, a couple hours?
Yeah,
Most
definitely.
people would go, whoa, how'd you figure that one out? Well, I'm a tape reader. That's how I do it. And I'm giving Chuck a hard time about to emphasize just how important TNT is. Where if you like information, who likes to get information before Wall Street has it, before everybody else has it? I'm just asking that question. If I'm a trader, and I don't care if I wake up at 7, 8, or 9, would you like to have the words that will make you money over the course of the day? Well, my Magic 5 speak for itself. And we spent a whole lesson teaching it. Okay. And it's the idea is we're trying to make you money, but you got to listen and you got to take action. Procrastination leads to indecision. Indecision leads to what? Failure. We don't like failure, do we, Peg? How you doing, Elizabeth? Elizabeth's a new customer. She's got her eyes wide open.
Well, Tom, I can tell you, I'm looking through the plan program today, and we're going to be talking about those stocks and many more as we go through. Before we get too sidetracked, though, you mentioned those love letters, and I want to show people a few of them here. Now, the writing on here is pretty small, so I'm going to read a good bit of this off. This is from Neil, and first of all, we want to say thank you, Neil. We definitely appreciate this. So, quote. The best news was after returning home from a month away from trading computers, etc. Tom, a fellow aviator, spent a Sunday afternoon telling me how to rearrange my trading account. In the last week, I have taken my account from the yo-yo up and down from trying to outsmart the DTI system with the fundamentals and technical analysis that had been my experience these last 6 months, and recoupled all my losses by growing my account or recouped all my losses by growing my account 29% in a 4-day period. 55,000 to 71,000 in 4 days. Not bad, Neil. Congratulations. Now, Neil also goes on to say, I'm sold on the Tom Busby, Jesse Livermore DTI ways to approach the market. As a day trader, I read the tape, use the DTI system, and stop worrying about all the reasons why or what could happen, as the system warns us of major changes and we can react accordingly. The stubborn, old, overthinking ex-fighter pilot who had to control everything is now a disciple. Most respectfully, and with special thanks to Jonathan, Chuck, and Adam, as well as the sales team who work behind the scenes often to make it all work. So, Neil, we certainly appreciate that. I love the fact that you're acknowledging that staff, Jonathan and Adam, do an incredible job. Listen, I'm just sitting here. They put a mic in front of me, so my job's a little bit easier. But yeah, Tom, Neil, apparently,
Let me give you the background, folks. I didn't know Neil. I wouldn't have recognized Neil, and he was in the chat room and said he was in the Navy. Already I held that against him, but that was okay. And then he came to my small class, and when he came to my small class, I said, hey, this is a good guy. And then he told me about he was going away for some health issues, but he'd be gone for about a month. I said, well, give me a call on a Sunday when you get back, and I will help get you up to speed and all that. So we had, this is after meeting him, getting to know him, great guy. And we spent Sunday afternoon talking about it. And I gave him I said, this is what you need to do. He was tied up in some losing trades. I said, get out of those, take the money and put it in what we're talking about because they're going to make you money. So it was a hard thing for him to do to make that decision. He could say, oh, well, maybe Tom doesn't know what he's talking about. But he had watched me long enough to know it wasn't any time for BS. It was time to get serious. And so when I got this letter from him, I'm telling you, I was walking on water then because I felt good about it. This is the kind of stuff that motivates me. So what did I do? This morning, I got up after doing my necessary report. I decided to develop a tech mutual fund. And that's what we'll get into a little bit later. This is sort of a pre-Sawgrass, but I think that people are going to like what I've done once we get into it. But Chuck, you did a great job sharing with everybody what Neil had done. The other factor I want to say is that I really appreciate all of the rest of you sending those love letters. I hadn't got to all of them. And I also appreciate the fact we got a couple customers made it their mission to get more people in here. That's encouraging also. So thank you for doing all that. So, we're growing. You just need your help. That's the way I look at it. We're growing and need your help.
Yeah, Tom, we've got more. It's not just Neil. Neil is not the only one sending in these love letters. We got one here from Bob. And again, thanks, Bob, for sending this in. And Bob says the TNT messages, and that's from the Telegram channel. TNT meetings, or no, this is Train and Trade, in the last 2 weeks have been particularly helpful. My ability to use Roadmap has taken a quantum leap forward, and my P&L, that's profit and loss, has improved dramatically. A tip of the hat to all involved in the production of these classes. Before meeting DTI, I was involved in a few other programs which were a waste of time and money. With over 50 years of investment experience, I understood the concept of a put or call, but I had no idea how to employ them. It was a big mystery, and I was afraid to try it out on my own. And by the way, just as an aside, Tom, that's something that a lot of traders look at. There is a mystery to some of the things that we do, and you do a great job of clarifying that. I think that's where Bob is coming. Let me continue Bob's statement here. I sought help elsewhere, but not until Tom did I really wrap my head around just how powerful they could be. I'm a very happy student because not only am I receiving trade alerts, but I'm also finally able to find my own cash register ringing trades. It feels great to see my account growing. Your Roadmap software is making all the difference in the world because it's giving me the confidence I've been lacking. I can't thank you enough. Keep it up, please. And I got to say, Tom, this letter from Bob, this is really, I think, why we do this. Because that idea of didn't fully understand. Yeah, we want to part those waves, clear that cloud, and show you what's actually out there in the simplest way possible. And then we give you the tools like the Roadmap software to take advantage of it. So what you're reading from Bob, if you're sitting back as the everyday average Joe or average Jane trying to get ready and explore the markets, this is what it's all about. Thanks, Bob. Can't tell you how much we appreciate that. That's kind of hit to the heart and soul of what we do here at DTI.
That is a great one. Thank you, Bob. Now send me about 5 people, Bob.
There you go. Well, we had 522 people view that so far, apparently. I'm looking at the little light down there. So,
wow, that's great.
Yeah, amazing. Now, speaking of amazing, Tom, one ticker payout program, 3 trades in May so far, 3 winners. That's not a bad way to start out the month. Someone needs to remind everybody that we are still in the first week of May. This is the second Friday, but we're only 6 trading days in. So this is with the one ticker payout, you're getting a trade every other day. We got the
Well,
QQQ.
somebody made the comment, they were in the one ticker program and they didn't like it. And I said, what don't you like? I said, let me show you how powerful it is. And we popped off three winners to let everybody know. We got, I don't know, I'd have John, it's wasted, it's just great. I would say, go give me every trade I ever made. But one time in one ticker program, we had 30 in a row. It's the QQQ, folks. If I'm touching the QQQ, my odds go up to about 90%.
Yeah, and we're looking at returns of 19%, 20%, 22%. I mean,
Anybody here not a member of the Q or of this program? Anybody not a member? John says he's not. Well, John, you must not like money. Elizabeth, become a member. It's a great program.
Definitely want to keep you guys informed and give you all those opportunities. Now, this is not the only opportunity, though, Tom, because we also have 3 trades in Tuesday power plays just this week. 3 wins.
Let me just say this. If you're new to options, Morris, you ought to be shot not being a member of that program. Good a trader as you are. Morris has been with me about 17, 18 years, okay?
To be clear, we do love Morris around here, so.
Yeah, except for the time he came into Mobile, it cost me $20,000 because I had to remodel the electronics in there. It wasn't up to his taste. You'll remember that, Morris. Anyway, 3 trades in a Tuesday power play. This will teach you about options and how to do options.
To be fair, Tom, I think we got a pretty good return on that investment. So give Morris his due.
Oh, he took you out to dinner. You love Morris.
All right, so let's see. Now, looking at the broader view of the trading that's been going on, April trading, 21 total winners, or 21 total trades, 20 winners, 1 loser, 95% accuracy. When we go and look at May, we're only adding on to that. We're right now at 15 total trades, 15 winners, 100% accuracy in the 6 trading days of May. Tom, the challenge here? Keep it going.
Well, there's gonna be there'll be some I probably screw up with on the way, but let me answer him. MG, start in the power program. That will teach you all about options. You'll learn the right way to trade options in the power program. The trades come out on Tuesday. Put your name and email, Jonathan. I have one of our Kelly or Jeffrey get a hold of you, or Kareem get a hold of you. But that's the program you want to start with to learn options, in my opinion, the power program. Well, that's pretty good trading, isn't it, folks? Y'all know anywhere else you can get 21, 15, 36 and have one of those? I wonder what I lost on, Jonathan. Now, you got my curiosity up on the one I did lose. I'd be curious to know.
Well, Tom, just to let you know, it's not a fluke because so far this year, January through May, 142 closed trades, 117 winners, 24 losers, 1 break even, 82% accuracy rate. And quite frankly, Tom, for as long as I've known you, which is a long time, we'll just leave it at that. But you're typically an 80% trader.
Well, you're the one that told me that years ago when you did all that. Remember you said, Tom, you're right about 4 out of 5 days. You simplified it for me, and I've been using that ever since. I sort of stay pretty close to that. He went through a lot of trades to come up with that number. Chuck was an English graduate, but he is one of the smartest mathematical people I've ever met. Okay.
Well, we also figured out which days are best.
Right.
And when you look at some of those programs,
we sure did.
When you look at some of those programs, they take advantage of the best days.
Yeah, John just posted power for other people out there. It's a 30-day test drive. Take it for a test drive. Try it out.
Yeah, and
this is the part I want to talk, Chuck.
All right,
I need your help, folks. It's working. My guerrilla marketing for you through our customers is working. And you're sending people, you're sending the love letters, you're responding. It fired me up. I can see the numbers growing, but it's working. Now we got a little program going. I'm gonna do a drawing at Sawgrass and give away something pretty valuable to you. So I think you're gonna find that it will pay you to send a lot of people. And I was thinking about this. If you're a veteran or whatever, and you get some magazine or something, you can comment. You ought to refer me in there as a veteran, and tell them to go here and share your story with them. Do it on Facebook. Do it on whatever you're part of. But a lot of people will respond to that because veterans are looking for things after they finish their military career, and they're looking for ways to enhance their account. If you're a doctor, I got one right here, Roger. If you got any questions and you want to know how doctors do with me, okay, he'll tell you. Roger's one of our better customers out of Texas. And if you got a knee that you need replaced, he'd probably be a guy to do it. The point being is, let's work together to make this the best place to go for generating money, not just for me, but for you, which is what it's all about. Does that sound like a plan to make it our goal to generate a lot of money for you? Because that's why you should be here, right? That and education, I would think. What do you think, Chuck? That's a good goal, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, send this link, copy it, post it in the room where they can copy it and put it in their email and start working. Hey, you ought to check this guy out, Train and Trade, or this group of people out. You'll be helping them. They'll be giving you Christmas presents come Christmas. But we're just getting started.
Yeah, definitely. Now let's take a look, Tom. We've got the you mentioned that big drawing at Sawgrass. We're really looking forward to that event coming up at the end of the month, May 31st through June 2nd. $9.97. Call 904-706-3532 or go to dtitrader.com/Sawgrass. And remember, guys, we might be out of seats at the event, but you can watch at home, sit in your own chair, and go through online. $9.97. Someone was asking the other day, Tom, shouldn't they have to pay less if they're sitting at home? No, you have to pay more for convenience, and you don't have to worry about dieting if you're sitting at home because, well, those who are in Sawgrass, they got to prep and be prepared for a diet both before and after because we're going to feed them well when they come and visit. Let's take a look. Also, T-Buzz weekly trade letter, $9.99 access still available, but the price does increase next week to $49. Take advantage while you can. dtitrader.com/weekly. Now, for those of you who don't know, the weekly newsletter releases Monday after the close, gives you a broad market update, key news for the week, earnings to watch, Tom's weekly Magic 5 stocks. Now, of course, if you're in the Telegram channel, you get the daily Magic 5, but the weekly Magic 5 stocks are the best of the best. And we look at special opportunities available. And starting next week, we'll be doing a Wednesday update, kind of giving you a look into what looks great in that weekly newsletter. So give you sort of a little update, more in-depth information. And I would say that's what you're paying the $49 extra for, or the $49, the price increase.
No, actually, we're going to raise the price even further than this, but that's just one new feature that we're doing. We'll start at $49, and people are responding. I'm seeing a lot of sales coming through at the $9.99. People doing multiple years. So they know when I say this, we're going to do it. So $49 is going to be the newsletter from now on. It's well worth it. In fact,
number one, it's already more valuable than what you're having to pay for it, even with the price increase. And number two, we're going to continue to make it better. So take advantage while you can. Let's go in. If you want to know a little bit more about Tom, listen, I'd say go to the Telegram channel. You can get all the information there. Go to the YouTube channel. It's all there. But if you're more of a reader, hey, Tom's books are available at Amazon.com. You got Roadmap to the Markets, plus the trilogy, Winning the Day Trading Game, The Markets Never Sleep and Trade to Win. And special for you guys who come in to Trade and Trade, go to dtitrader.com/WDTG. The link is on the slides. Jonathan has posted the slides up for you guys. And get a little portion of that audio book on us. Feel free to come in, take a listen. I think you'll like what you hear. Now, resources, we have the white paper booklet for anything you're looking at in DTI. You want to know a little bit more about these white papers, do a very good job of explaining it. Those are specific topics. Of course, the YouTube page, I mentioned that, dtitrader.com/YouTube. Want to take a look. We got a nice little crowd in there right now. I see a few people have joined in the chat. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Important terms to know. Tom's penalty tape, great way to get back on the beaten path if you ever feel yourself a little bit lost, or if you've never traded before and you want to know what you need to focus on to be a trader, get your mindset right. That penalty tape is a great place to go to get that kicked off. The BNN interview, I think, is very interesting. It shows what Tom was thinking heading into the financial crisis back in 08, 09 area. So by all means, take a look at that. You'll see a younger version of Mr. Busby. He hasn't really aged that much, though. And then, of course, Options EDU. Someone was mentioning earlier, Tom, they didn't really know a lot about options and option trading. This is a great resource to use. dtitrader.com/options edu. Nice, clean breakdown. Adam Mowry does a good job of maintaining that. So if you want to kind of get engrossed in the subject material, dtitrader.com/options edu. Great resource for you guys to use. Now, let's talk about the FTD stocks because we got some triggering. They've been triggering for a little while, but let's take a look here. May FTD stocks, let me just go ahead and click in here and change this setting. Now, we have the S&P and the NASDAQ looking great. The Dow, I'm paying a lot of attention to the Dow, Tom, because I think the opportunities are there. We're just waiting for that trigger. But the S&P and the NASDAQ have gone ahead and said, all right, Dow, you're going to have to catch up. We're going to go ahead and go. We've come down the list. You see crude popping that short, and that's a great sign because crude is a contrarian indicator at this point. As they move down, we expect markets to move up. So short on crude, great sign for the rest of the market. You see gold, silver, and bonds. And of course, Tom, yesterday you were talking all about silver. SLV was one of those big lists on the Magic 5. And let's see, I'm looking back through on the list today too, 72.55. So yeah, the commodities markets are cooking. We got a few down here. We got corn and let's see, wheat and soybeans, and they're starting to take a little bit of a hit. But we've come down into, let's do this group here, our ETFs, the SPY and the QQQ group all long. Come down a little bit further, and let's move into some of these big stocks. I mentioned SLV, 72.57. This is updated as of about 5 minutes ago. Thanks for that, Jonathan. Or wait, got to correct that date there. I'm assuming that's supposed to be May 8th. There we go.
And Jonathan Morris, a longtime student, requested that we put SNVR in there. We'll put it in there, Morris. It goes from, reason I haven't traded, it's not on my 25 ticker list. But now we're going to put it there, and I'll give you what I thought. So we'll add that just for you, Morris. Just for you. Morris is still operating those cabins up in Wisconsin? It's DC, SNDC, DK. No, just left. Fine.
I figured SanDisk was on there. I must be thinking of the afterburner list. I'll get it added.
get it added and I'll see it that way. Cause I go from this list here and I'm open-minded about looking at things, but I'll watch it and then I'll tell Jonathan to throw it off if it's not something I'm gonna trade.
And let's keep coming in here, and you'll notice Intel up at the top of the screen here. Wow. Open the year at 37.77, currently trading 116.92. And Tom, I know you were talking about this long before it made this big run. Of course, that may open at 93.20. But, a friend of mine had asked me, this is after you had talked about Intel, hey, is there any stocks that I should be interested in investing in? I told him, hey, listen, I'm going to give you an insight here. Number one, go and visit dtitrader.com/YouTube, but also go buy Intel. That was when they were at 65. Of course, they launched. I called him up the next day. I was like, hey, have you done anything? He was like, no, I got busy. And I was thinking, yeah, what was it Napoleon Hill said?
Indecision leads to, or procrastination leads to indecision. Indecision leads to failure.
There you go. So we'll see if we can get that guy on track. But for everybody that's here, and if he is here, notice I didn't throw your name out, so you got a little bit of anonymity. But we got Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, AMD, Micron, STX. Look, these stocks are doing great. And
we got a very strong market, And one of the biggest things to take away from last month and this month, Tom and Chuck and everybody in the room, we've said it before, we'll say it again. I have a slide for it as well. We found that 87% of the time, if the SPY opens above the 3-day algo high, which it has this month and last month it did too, what we found from our study from 2021 to 2025 is that means about 87% of the time the market finishes the month positive. We've seen this play out this year. I know for a fact in February and March, the algo never triggered on the SPY, and you saw how weak those months were. Last month, it did trigger, and we were screaming it on the day it triggered. First time it triggered in 2 months, setting up great. You saw what happened for the rest of the month last month, and then that's continued into this month here. So very, very important. Very, very important tracking that 3-day algo spreadsheet. So let's get in to what we want to do today, which is review the lessons so far this week. On Monday, we talked about making money on Monday and finding stocks for Tuesday, trade day. Now, Monday is usually a watch day. Sometimes we trade depending on the market and how strong it is, but most of the time Monday's a watch day. And we remind everybody that day of this slide right here. Need to throw it in again. I just mentioned it. Again, from our study, 2021 to 2025, and we'll update this after this year. 87% of the time that the SPY opens above the 3-day algo high, month and it's positive. So critically important here to track in the bigger picture market. Now I guess it was Monday. On Monday, okay, we had a focus in on the trade tracker. And that day we threw Tom's top 10 tickers into the trade tracker. And really the focus at the time, that was the last, that was the 3rd day of the 3-day algo forming, right? And we wanted to focus in on where the high was at the time and where the stocks were in comparison to that. And just teach you what we look for as the month and the week unfolds. I'll point you to that Micron at the time. Remember this was day 3 of the 3-day algo. That was Monday. It was trading at 583. And it was above the 2-day high up to that point. 2-day high up to that point was 545. And it hadn't quite set the official 3-day high yet, but it has now. And if we go to the next slide, and I'll show you a picture of what everything looks like now. you can see how the week has unfolded. And just look at, if I can get this centered up, just look at that 3-day algo high and the week start high and see how these stocks have performed, right? Look at Micron up to 717.
You know, I'm long Micron. I had a customer in town for a one-on-one. He got long at 400, I think, is what he told me. And I showed him how to tell when it was time to leave the party. And now we're up, goodness gracious, from that one-on-one meeting, Jonathan, we're probably up, where's that, over 700 right now? Yeah, we're up probably $100 at least, maybe 130. I don't know if he's here or not. Peter, are you here today? Phelps, are you here? See if they chime in if they're here. All right, good. Let me tell y'all, folks. I want to tell you about Phelps. Phelps, by the way, this weekend, Phelps, my wife is going to pick out a pattern, have you make a dress for her. Phelps has an unusually great talent as his primary job, which is he can take and build clothes, different things that you can't find on the rack or anything else. And he's starting a business there in Texas. And so I'm trying to, I'll get stuff and try to get it to him. But if you're interested in I guess, Phelps, you do men's stuff, right? But I think you're really focused on the ladies. But if you're a lady and looking for some kind of dress or thing, you might let him price it out for you. I think he's going to be a lot cheaper than you think because, everybody doesn't know his name like they know with Chanel and those other people. He will be there one day. And so if you're interested, send an email to Roe at DTI Trader and he'll forward that to Phelps and, try it and see what you think. And, he says he could do both, men or women. He's just like Michael Jordan. I like that. Anyway, I'm gonna get with her this weekend. We'll find something. We'll get it started, and then everybody can see how it goes. He's getting married June the 4th, right? June the 4th, right, Phelps? Getting married. That's super. Anyway, who's interested in getting something made like that? Maybe customer. If you are, say yes, and you're going to send an email just to try to see. You can always say no, but Phelps is Mother's Day or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I wanted to throw that out there. Jennifer says she's in. Hey, Jennifer doesn't procrastinate. She'll be right behind me giving you something, Phelps. Jennifer doesn't procrastinate. She's come a long way since last year's Sawgrass, okay? So just throwing that out there. Anyway. All right, back to the market. We got Trade Tracker looking good. And pick it up, Chuck or Jonathan. I'm sorry, I saw Phelps and I wanted to tell everybody about it. I'm pretty excited about it personally. My wife said she can't ever find anything.
All right. So Monday's goal was to determine which stocks we liked and which stocks were moving higher versus moving lower. And of course, in the bullish market, like we're in this week, you got to focus on the stocks moving higher and forget about the stocks moving lower. That was the goal. I'm going to post the slides for today's training trade into the Zoom chat right now so you can grab those as needed. Now, the slides, the recording, and a link to get the roadmap are included on that slide here we're showing, which is slide 24. So if you need Monday's slides, go to the deck and click there to get it. It's a really long, nasty link. That's why we didn't show it there, Tom, for you. Here's the recording, and there's get the roadmap. So that was Monday. That was on Monday. Trade day 2, of course, or day 2 of the week was Tuesday, and that's trade day for us. That's when we send out our Tuesday power plays. You saw the 3 winners from this week. That happened on all on Tuesday. I think we booked Google on Wednesday, but the other two happened on Tuesday. So great week in power. But on Tuesday, we focused in on the 5 stocks that Tom included in the Magic 5 that day that also aligned nicely with his 10 tickers for the week, right? And we focused on those 5 for that very reason. Now, at the time, we looked at the 2-day high and low to start the month. We looked at Friday and Monday. So we looked at Friday's high and Monday's high. And what we wanted to find is, again, well, some of this is from our focus was for the week, but also focus for today is you want to focus in on if you can have a high and a low from a frame that you're looking at. In this case, it was a 2-day high and low. You can find a midpoint from that high and low. And you want to focus your attention to the stocks in the upper half, preferably upper third of that range. But it's easy to do a calculation to take the average to get the midpoint. And so we looked at this and we focused in on Intel, Tesla, Micron, QQQ, SPY. You notice a trend there. That's why Tom picked them. They were all in their upper half from the frame he established. And so we took that and we ran with that. You've seen trades this week on Intel, seen what Micron has done. We did QQQs left and right. All right, so that was on Tuesday. If you look at prices now, I'll just tell you where prices are now. Intel is at 117, about 8 points higher than that.
Actually, 117.69.
Tom's being specific. Yep, there you go. Tesla is at 429.
429.35.
Micron is at 714 and a half.
Got me that time.
QQQ 707.35 and SPY is at 736.88. So all these worked out nicely to say the least. All right, let's keep going. There's the slides from Tuesday, the recording from Tuesday, and we spoke about Futures Plus education that afternoon, and there's a link for Futures. Now, on day 3, we talked, it was the first day after the algo was formed. That was May 6th. We narrowed our focus. We focused into the stocks, 20, 25 stocks. We actually narrowed more than that, about 10 to 15. We narrowed down our focus to about 10 to 15 for immediate candidates that were above the FTD algo and looking bullish, all right? And also above Monday's high. That's what we did that day. Anything below the month open, we crossed out. We went to search for all those. We found some nice tickers. You want to review that session, actually all of these. So Wednesday's session, you can review that recording there. If you need the slides for that, the link's on that page. And we talked about Orion. At the end of that day. And finally, on yesterday, talked about using options to replace stock, and Tom's going to piggyback off of that today, but I got a couple slides to show you. We talked about what 50 delta was and 30 delta was, and any kind of stock replacement strategy, you need time to expiration so you're not fighting time decay. And then I promised to get Tom's bonus insights on the slides, so here they are. Let me read them off to you. If trading before 12 p.m. Eastern time, Tom's more likely to be more aggressive with his trading, with more movement out there. He's going to have a higher delta option outright, perhaps. But in the afternoon, starts to think about overnight risk. He's more likely to trade spreads, probably credit spreads. I know you've said in the afternoon, more likely to trade credit spreads, or if you need to do some hedging with your long calls, you'll start to turn in those into debit spreads.
And that, folks, is sort of an insight secret from a 40-year trader. If you're losing a little bit of money by noon on an outright long call, if you'll spread it, you'll still get paid on that outlay and it reduces your risk. I have no problem doing that. In fact, I probably had about 3 trades that maybe the time was off a little bit. One was on NVIDIA. I spreaded it. I actually made more money I would have made by being outright long. So this is a great strategy, always having a plan and how to take advantage of that plan as you do it.
So here are the slides recording from Thursday. We talked about sawgrass at the end of yesterday. Detail.
Let's take our hats off to Jonathan. I explained to Jonathan yesterday, and I said, Jonathan, I'm not like you. I wasn't born with a mouse in my hand. A lot of our customers are like me, and I don't want to go to one click. I don't want to go clicking anything. When I want to review something, I want to click a link. I said, if you'll put in and take the time to put it into the room where people can copy it, and then they can go review it on Saturday or Sunday when they want to review that particular lesson. And to do that, I think it just makes it easier. And everybody that agrees is going to be real happy. And I take my hat off to Jonathan. He was open-minded about it. He didn't want to do it because that's not the way he operates. He's a computer genius. I'm not. But I am wanting to go back and look at some of these things, but having to search and find it. So there's such great lessons. Why not have a link you can go to? Okay. And, you know, we're here for you. I know all this stuff, but we're here for you. And that's a good way you can go review it at your own time. Okay. I'd like to take my hat off to Peg. She said she just referred Camilla to us. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. Jonathan, you just got
thanks, Tom. Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Joe.
Yep. Thanks everybody for the feedback, and thanks, Tom, for all your great ideas for every session we held every single day. And obviously, wouldn't be possible without your mind and your market education and insights. Otherwise, it'd just be empty space. So let's get into some. We're 50 minutes in. Let's get into some actionable insights here. You wanted to do a tech mini mutual fund.
Yeah, folks. I've got an idea that I think is timely. I didn't come up with this idea in January. I've had it all along. I didn't implement it in February, March, April, but I'm implementing it right now because I do believe that July 4th, some of these stocks I'm identifying today will be really at accelerated prices if I'm right by that time. So I said, let's do a tech mini mutual fund. And my theory was people like me might have money in an account they're not trading or investing, it's over in cash. I said, why don't we do an option mini fund? And I used a $10,000 amount of capital. And you can break it down even smaller than that if you want to, but the idea was if I put 10,000 in this mini mutual fund, and maybe by July it's worth 13,000, that's $3,000 on that 10. Now you can do more than 10. I'm just using that as a basic unit in my explaining it today. Does everybody understand this concept, what I'm teaching? So if you got a retirement account and you say, hey, I'm going to do this with options, this is what I'm going to do, okay? Okay, so these are the stocks, Apple, NVIDIA, not a surprise. Qualcomm, by the way, Chuck's $227 right now, $227 in the TNT room. That'll pay for a year almost, $227. AMD, you know I like it. And then Tesla, I told you about it. So these are the 5 stocks. So here's what I did. Larry, I didn't include MU in here because I'd rather ride a more stable market to get 30%. You understand? You got to have specific timing with a stock like MU, and I got it, but I'm not going to be holding your hand. This is sort of set it and forget it type idea, okay? So let's go, Tech Mini Mutual. Now give me a thank you if you like this approach. Okay. All right, so the first thing, we got the 5 stocks.
All right, we're going to go to option chain, Tom, and I'll get it added to the slide.
Okay.
But we got option chain coming up here on Apple. You want to use August 21st as the expiration.
Right, 295, 300.
295, 300. That 5 wide is marked at 238. Looks
It's
liquid.
fine. You
Looks
can
fine.
buy it there.
Okay.
That's a go. Anybody who wants to join can buy 2 contracts of Apple, and you will spend roughly 2 contracts at how much did you say? 238?
238. Yeah, don't pay more than 250. Shouldn't have to either, but just
Yeah.
a note.
For 2 contracts today, you'd spend $500 in the Apple lane. And I'm writing down $500 because this means I can come back around and add to it, right? Okay. With different strikes. All right. Everybody got the first trade. Give me a yes if you had time. If you're making it, make it. We'll move on. August 21st. August 21st.
Yeah. And speaking of Tom insights, one of his insights is whatever the width of the option spread is that you're buying, don't pay more than half of that width. So this is a 5 wide spread, so we can't pay more than 2.5. Follow that.
Everybody
Follow that
understand?
pretty strictly. Yeah.
It's a go. All right, what's the next one?
NVIDIA. Let's go back to the option chain.
220, 225.
All right, let's see. NVIDIA has earnings on May 20th. Let's go August 21st. 220, 225. That one's marked. Liquidity still looks good. It's marked a little bit less. In terms of
That's
price.
a go also. That's another $500 roughly, we'll call it, going out of your mutual fund of tech into this game. Okay? If anybody does these, write the, if you will, write the price you're paying where we can use that to compare the next time I come around to this. What is it, Jonathan? 215 roughly?
Yeah.
Okay. Be sure to save this, John, because I'm going to be asking to add more too out of the 10,000 at certain times. So I got to know where to go. All right. The next one's Qualcomm. I got a 220, 230 for Qualcomm.
Everybody had a chance to get into NVIDIA that wanted to get in.
They're wanting you to post it into the room, the first two, Jonathan. Trade 1, trade 2. Can you do that real quick? Does that take too long?
Sure. I mean, absolutely can do that. It's right there on the big screen though, right? I'm just making sure everybody can see it in the big screen.
Can you see the slide?
That's all right. We try to please everybody here.
Yeah, we're trying to please everybody.
All right, we're ready for Qualcomm?
Ready for Qualcomm next.
Yeah, okay. Let me go over to the option chain. August 21st.
Yep.
These are only 10 wides, Tom.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm only going to do one on Qualcomm, see what price it is.
Yeah, the price of stock is almost 227. Yeah, a 230, 240. I don't know what you're looking at here, but 230, 240, just to throw out one, is $3.95, a little bit wide.
Let's do that one then. Okay.
Need to put a limit on that. Shouldn't have to pay 5, but need to put a limit.
So you're going to do a 230, 240.
Yeah, it's marked about $3.95, so we just need to put a limit because the spread's a little wide.
All right, we're going to do 2 of those. That'd be about 800 we're spending on Qualcomm.
Or you said just one of those, right? Because you wanted to.
Well, no,
really.
No, I can do 2 on that one. I got enough money. Do 2.
And so the focus is just having even risk on all 5 of these. Is that correct, Tom?
Yeah, but you got it. Since Qualcomm's running today, I want to go on and get that position in place the first set. Okay. So I've spent $1,800. I'm not even at 5,000 yet, and I'm I got 3 trades on. I'm gonna do one of AMD and one of Tesla, so that'd be 6. I'm still gonna be short of my 5,000 expenditure today on this opening salvo. Okay.
Okay, let's narrow down. You shouldn't have to pay, I wouldn't think, more than 360, 370, but start on the lower end, see if they fill you at 3.5.
But they can work it themselves. We can't micromanage it, but we can just say hypothetically the midpoint's this and take it. I'm saying take it.
There you go. In the chat and on the slides, QCOM trade.
Okay, and that was Qualcomm. Let's do AMD next. I'm only going to do one contract here of AMD. What am I going to spend for? I got a 440, 450 is what I got lined out this morning. What am I going to spend? I'm only going to do one contract here.
All right, is everybody good on Qualcomm? Switching back over to the option chain for AMD, August 21st, 10 wides. The price of the stock is $442.50. Tom, what you want to look at?
The 440, 450, how much is that spread?
440, 450 is marked a midpoint of around 440. It is very
I'll
wide.
take it. 440 in. Notice it's less than half the width. So far, I've spent 1,000, 18, 2,200 of the 5,000. I'm just scratching. So I'm not going to be at probably 30% of my team. Okay. When Jonathan gets it posted, we'll go to the last one, Tesla. I only do one contract of Tesla. One contract, John, on this. You can do more. I'm just giving you, please understand, folks, I'm just giving you a hypothetical outline of how I would do it as I start my mini mutual fund on Texas. Everybody give me a yes if you understand that. This is for education to show you how to build something, and I'll tell you what the ultimate goal is, okay? All right, so what we got on AMD? No, Tesla, I mean. 420 to 440.
Switching over to
440. Do one contract.
Tesla stock is trading close to 429. And the 430, 440 call spread is about 4.5.
I'm gonna say I'm all in today, $2,700, give or take a few. Okay. So $2,700, and John, we're gonna do a slide sort of recapping today's action. We'll come back to this at different times, but $2,700 out of 10,000 would be invested today. 2,700 out of 10,000 is only about 25% today. Pricing. I'm just rounding, folks, to make the math simple. Not time to get exact. So we'll put 2,700 in. My goal is to make 30% and lose less than 25. That's my upside parameter and downside in case I go, uh-oh. Now, what's the next thing I got to do? I got to trade set, right? you need to go calculate 30+% of whatever you paid and put a good cancel order in. Everybody understand? You go to your platform, set a good cancel order. If you paid $2 for it, 30% of $2.60, put it in at $2.59. And if it fails, you just make 30% off of the Apple trade or Nvidia trade. See how that works? That's the step. Everybody got it? So, Josh, we probably need a slide that says hypothetical 10,000 invested roughly 2,700 a day, approximately 2,700 a day. Okay, Sean just said the most stupidest thing I've seen in 52 years. Sean, you know I'm playing with you, right? I'm playing with you anyway. Okay. No problem, Sean. I'm playing with you. But anyway, the reason, most people will look at these, oh, these things are too high. How many people are looking at it? Oh, that's high. That's the thought of most new traders or people that are trying to learn, right? They say it's too high. There's a theory I've had for years. And I said it's called the bigger fool theory. I'm buying this as a fool to sell it to a bigger fool at a higher price. Well, how good am I at doing that? Well, the only way to know is look at my record, right? Does everybody understand that? And the way I'm entering is averaging into all these today. I still got 7,500 of my cash hoard to throw in here. Correct? Everybody understand? I didn't plunge all 10,000 in. I did it. Now, Bruce, we can track it for you personally for a price, but you ought to track it yourself and remind me. I wrote them down. I've got these trades. You don't want to pay me to track these. Look at your account, then ask questions. That's what I'm counting on. Same way I'm counting on Intel to get to 150. It's 118.18 right now. What if you thought it was too high at 115? You're $3 behind the 8 ball, aren't you? What I'm showing you for those that are new or really don't understand what I'm doing is giving you money. Because here's the way it's going to work. If I'm fortunate enough for these trades to pay people, and they send me love letters, Tom, I made 38% on those trades. I made 40%. Then I'm going to put it in training trade, say, who took this trade? And you're going to remember, oh, I thought it was too high. I didn't take it. It might be too high, but if it is, I still got 7,500 to come back with. Understand the math. I would say this is worth a fortune. I should charge for it, but I'm giving it to you. How many people would like to pay for a strategy like this? If somebody you could talk to could give you a strategy like, what would that cost you? I'm just curious. You know how much it's cost you today? Nothing but your time to learn. I don't think so. Not on these. These trades are good all day, in my opinion. In fact, we take out 25 and head to 45 this afternoon. You're going to wish you bought him at 11 this morning. Oh, God. Hey, that's a good one. Trust the buzz. I like that one. Okay, we got to 5, Jonathan. You got to wrap up the summary that we can look at.
A little tough keeping up with you today. Let's do the summary on it. It's a little tough keeping up with you today. What do you want on the summary page?
Make 30% profit is our goal.
Add that there.
Use good to cancel orders where you don't have to check it. You know, if it goes off one day when you're having a bad day, you make 30%. You'll remember this talk I gave people. Okay. And
what was your risk point?
I'm going to try to manage that risk for somewhere around 25% overall, but I'm not going to jump out. I'll look at it. If I do, I'll tell people. That's our goal. Put goal on that slide. And people know it's a goal. Nothing automatic. Folks, was this worth being here today? Getting this? If you sign up for Sawgrass and come to Sawgrass, guess what? I'm going to give you a portfolio at Sawgrass for the whole year. That's called the portfolio from Sawgrass. Is that worth signing up to have your portfolio chosen? Just ask people who's ever been to Sawgrass. We have about an 80% retake. They come every year to get it. Right, I'll keep up with these 5. I'll let you know in train and trade, Jonathan, if it's time to do anything, okay?
Sounds good.
See you, Weiss. All right, listen, I want to talk about the weekend side hustle. I put the link in there for Sawgrass. Today, I want to focus on the trade I'm going to do today. How many people would like to get into a trade that sets up on a Friday and has a very high success rate, higher than 80%, let's say that, okay? How many people would like that? A very simple trade that we do every Friday. How many people would like that trade? We call it the weekend profits income alerts. And that trade is going to come out sometime after 2 today. And I wanted to come back around to make sure that if you want to be part of it, you need to join right now. This is where that procrastination leads to indecision. Indecision leads to failure. So this is my weekend profits club day. And I will put this trade out with Jonathan this afternoon. And I mean, if you want to make money, get in here.
We've had a few winners since this slide was built a couple weeks ago, so you can add to that total. Probably more
about
like
8 in a row.
Yeah, it'll be about 18 for 20 or so at this point, or 18 and 2, 18 wins, 2 losses. But you know, very good record. Let's get back down here to the bottom here. I got a screen we can play if people can learn more about it.
Anyways, 968, and you'll be able to get the next 2 weeks of these trades. If it doesn't make it for you, just get a refund. I don't care. Or give us a call at 904-706-3532. Folks, it's been fun being with everybody today. I've been going nonstop since 5 a.m. this morning. I'm going to take a little break, look at this thing after RB4. Does everybody know when I say I'm going to look at it after RB4, what time that's going to be? Where'd he go, Zumi? Weekend side hustle. Give me a yes if you want to put the odds in your favor and make this weekend side hustle trade this afternoon. Give me a yes. I don't see how many people. Give me a yes if you're going to, or a yes, sir, if you're going to join today and be part of it. This trade's coming. David, I did 2 contracts for every trade except for I did 1 contract for AMD and 1 contract for Tesla. Jonathan, play the recording. I hope you join. If you don't, shame on you. Thank you. After what I gave you today, you're obligated to join this one.
Thanks, Tom. Enjoyed the week. You're muted if you had one last word to say there, Tom.
I was telling Zumi, I hope he gets better and feels better and has a great weekend.
Oh, great. Yeah. Yeah. So about 3 minutes or so, I'm going to queue up the recording. I just got to track it down and we'll have a listen.
I look in here, a lot of people leave, and that's a mistake leaving. Because there's a chance I could pop back on here and give you some more money. Listen, this tells you the details you need to know.
Of course, we can't guarantee any future specific results. There's always a high degree of risk involved in trading, and you can go to the DTI homepage.
Yeah, and as we're talking today, don't you remember that number? $1,592 by following this process. I mean, do the math on that. You just got to get excited about it.
Absolutely. And then one more time, in trading, there are always going to be losers. There's not a black box miracle system that prints out winners automatically. We've always been transparent about that. Tom's completely transparent about that. Whole purpose of what Tom's doing is to work with traders and help give you an edge, which is what we're trying to do.